Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. We always know that the people who are supposed to be here are here. Thank you, Bindaji, for taking the time. I think this is our third Q&A in a row since we took uh, to say now. I think you probably heard, but I'll announce again that
Your voice is
we will
breaking,
pass on the
Artemisia.
Q&A. It usually happens on. Give me one moment. Is it better right now?
Yeah,
Is
it's
this good?
better now.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
For some reason, I had to move a little bit. I apologize. So we'll pass on the Q&A this Sunday. Give Bindaji some more time to prepare for the Upanishad next Wednesday here, which we look forward to. And so today, a question and answer on anything having to do with Advaita Vedanta. Nice to be with you, Prasad. It's unusual. So also, just to say, Prasad did a short Bhagavad Gita related class in the last week. It's on replays in this house. It's nice to sometimes just have those really technical classes like that. Okay, so anyone who would like to speak with Bindaji, just raise your hand. I can't emphasize enough, for myself anyway, how much value I get out of listening to what anyone has to speak about. When we're serious about our spiritual path, we really will have interest in everybody's concerns, whatever level we're at, because we're very sincere about trying to reach the goal that we're all after and have more freedom in our existence. So if anyone would like to raise their hand.
So, Bindu, namaste, Hari Om.
Namaste, Hari Om, Patrick.
So, I was just contemplating the content, and I was thinking that, with the Vedas represent something really special in terms of it's a compilation of Vedanta. It's a compilation of how to live in the content. It's an explanation of the content itself, and it's an explanation of the origin of that content. And I mean, intricately, it's an intricate discussion from numerous perspectives. The Upanishads encapsulate all of that, and so what that has to say something. That says something in terms of why they were downloaded, and so the flip side of it is why we don't see the same compilation of the antithesis of the Veda, the chaos, the exact ways to destroy, the exact ways, how not to live. So I could go on, but I think you get the gist of what I'm getting at. Like why the Vedas and not the opposite of the Vedas in terms of, content. You understand the question?
You are segregating between the Upanishad and the Vedas.
Well,
in their content.
No. What I mean is that, the Vedas, Upanishads, Vedanta, all as one in that sense that there's a handbook on how to live. It's an explanation of reality in all its, different aspects, but we don't have the opposite of Vedanta. We don't have a systematic story and textbook on how to live chaotically and the opposite of reality. So why do we have Vedanta and not the opposite? Maybe that's a better way of putting it.
Okay, it is very simple. The Vedas and the Brahmana, Aranyaka and the Upanishad. They were systematically developed when humanity was leading a chaotic life without any guidance. It was like more like a might is the right, and my way is the highway, and type of a living was what was being done, which the Vedic rishis themselves called it as an animalistic way of living, because that was most of the way animals reigned their power in among the society of or their community. Humanity was not different from them until the Vedas were developed and systematically developed. I would not say that it was given one night and somebody came and gave it. God came and uttered it into somebody's mind and then or somebody's thing like that, and it was written down and passed on to generations. No, it was ritualistic in the Brahmanas, and then developed the mind more into the upasanas and what you call the meditative mind. And when they developed the meditative mind, they also developed the inner mind to look into the origin of creation, origin of life, what is the reality behind every creation. So these were developed over a period, I don't know how many years, maybe thousands of years of rituals, thousands of years of meditation, and thousands of years of, Shravana Manana Nididhyasana, which finally developed into the Upanishads. So if you look at it, the chaotic living didn't need any prescription. If the Vedas or the Upanishads or any of these things are not being followed, man will be left to follow his instincts, which is 5 instincts, 5 sense organs pulling in 5 different directions, then 5 karmendriyas pulling in 5 different directions, mind one direction, intellect in another direction. So it is a chaotic life if you don't have a guidance. So I don't think that there is a need for anybody to sit down and write and tell you how to lead a chaotic life.
Okay, good. So that's how I would look at it. But we know that the Vedas weren't man-made, and so we can say, figuratively speaking, that man downloaded the Vedas, and so this might get a little heavy for some, but the way you explain that is how I would explain the origin of the Vedas. But why then? That's the point that I'm making is that there's something. I don't want to use the word Brahman, but let's just call Brahman as that singularity. Why is Brahman delivering prescriptions for happiness and well-being? Why?
Well, here to answer your question, I don't consider it as downloaded. That is why I said thousands of years of rituals followed by thousands of years of meditation and then intellectually, inquiring into the reality of what you see around, including ourselves. So it is not a process of one day it was downloaded. For you, it may be easy to think from that point of view because in the Abrahamic religion, it is always downloaded and then either, Moses or, Muhammad or who somebody prescribed and then it was written down. I don't think the Vedas were like that. It was human development in its best, that I would say that they went through rituals, meditation, and then arrived at the truth.
So you're saying that you're introducing the word human to describe the origin of the Vedas. So then what you're saying is that you see it as a trial and error, and trial and error creates the handbook to live and to explain.
Yes, of course,
Okay.
trial and error.
Okay.
Over trial and error only they came to the conclusion that, Nanya Pantha
Then
Vidyate Ainaya. They came to the news that there is no other way other than this.
okay. So where it's leading me is that the Vedas are a reflection of that purest Brahman in form, in content. Okay? You agree?
No, I won't agree with that.
Yeah, I knew you wouldn't. Because this is the problem. Explain why you won't go with it. Because what we've established.
The reason why.
Now.
No, the reason why it cannot be is that Vedas are words uttered by human beings, and Brahman is beyond words. So you cannot say that Brahman is now being presented through the Vedas. No, they are only indicating the presence of Brahman as what it could be, and that has to be left to the individual who is following the prescribed path will end it. Those who do not want to do it will definitely not reach there. And the sense that the methodology, it need not be in Sanskrit or Vedas. The methodology is self-inquiry. Because you are part of the creation. That is why it is self-inquiry.
But whose self-inquiry and whose vision? It's Brahman's vision. It's not an individual's vision. The Vedas are a reflection of Brahman.
Till it is just
They're
like
not a
Patrick. No, it is just like that. Till you
of the individual human. They're a reflection of Brahman.
Let me complete it.
Yeah.
The reflection is of that of human beings. The moment the reflection is completed and when he realizes who he is, then there is no reflection. He becomes Brahman. And Brahma with Brahmaiva Bhavati. He becomes, and there is no more reflection. And till then, he is a human being and he needs to reflect.
I'm with you, but it doesn't actually work that way because if we're in a smaller group, you're going to admit that there is really no human. And so all of this content is the content of Brahman, not a human. And so
it is just like that. It is just like this, Patrick. When you are dreaming, you are not Patrick. But the moment you woke up, you realize you are Patrick. But the dreamer also, you will say dreamer also was Patrick, only was dreaming. That is not the way to look at it. Right?
Right.
It is that,
and therefore, exactly, but therefore the content of the dreams was not human. It wasn't Patrick. It was the content of Brahman, a reflected Brahman, the Chittabhasa. So how is it that you can't see that is the same? That the Vedas are a reflection, an aspect of the reflection of Brahman. They're not a reflection of humans because there are no humans, not really. Everything that we're experiencing, we experience as the waker or human or in dream, but it's only a reflection of that Brahman.
In that your corollary, Patrick, if there are no humans, there are no Vedas also.
At this inquiry lies at the centrifugal point of this entire moment in a way, because this is what determines the axis of
Yeah,
the
thank
Earth.
you.
This is
Do you
the thing,
mind
right?
just let me finish with Bindo?
Yeah, agreed. Let's, when people are speaking, let them finish the conversation with whom they're having, and then we'll come to the other people in the order. And Patrick, if you have just a different view you want to state, just so we're sure to give everyone plenty of time.
Hari Om, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to disturb the room. I'm just saying this is a pertinent question for at this moment of time. Hari Om.
Oh, no
Namaste.
problem.
Yeah, that's why I'm asking it. That's why it's pertinent.
That's why, Patrick, I said that if there are no humans, then there are no Vedas. Do you agree with me or not?
Yeah, yes and no. Because in
It cannot
actualization,
be yes
yeah,
and
of course.
it cannot be yes and no.
I'm not gonna agree with you not completely because that figuratively speaking, the human is that co-creator. It's actualizing in humanity, so to speak, but it's not really. The origins of the Veda, the origins of humans, the origin of all of it is that reflected Brahman. It's all Brahman. There's nothing other
Brahman
than Brahman.
doesn't
So
need a Veda. Brahman
I
doesn't need a
know.
Veda.
No, I'm with you. So I know where you're going with it. And I mean, so I've spent enough time with you, so I understand why you're saying this. But it's reflected Brahman. The Vedas are reflected Brahman. All of it is reflected Brahman. You have to
What
say
you
yes
call
to that.
no, what you call it as reflected Brahman is what I call as humanity.
Yeah, that's fine, but it's a reflection. What is it then? You have to explain.
Reflect,
If you don't agree
ref,
that it's reflected Brahman, then you have to put into a framework. Then you'll
reflection is
go to
reflection
Samkhya.
is not the origin. Reflection
No,
is not the original.
totally agree. No question about that. Even though that creates a horrible dilemma that has to be explained, but we don't need to explain it now. But my point with it all is that if it's not reflected Brahman, then there is nothing. And so it is Brahman. It is Brahman. It
Patrick,
has to be. Yeah.
Patrick, you can stay where you are, but we are running in a parallel line. I cannot accept your statement, and you cannot accept my statement.
I'll work on
Can we,
a different framework. Yeah.
so
This is probably too intense.
let's respect the order that people came up. I know a couple people are flashing their mics. Thank you, Patrick. I'm sure this will come up again. I could say a lot on it myself, but I won't. Okay, Venkat, would you like to go ahead?
Yeah, mine will be a long winding road, maybe 10-12 minutes. That's why anyone else want to take the
Well,
liberty to ask question. I'll ask mine.
quite honestly, that's what you've said in other rooms, even when you never get to speak. Other people think theirs are short and they go on. So I'd prefer if we just go in order because we're going to benefit from each person. We have at least 40 minutes, so I think you should just go ahead, please.
Sure. Hari Om,
There you go.
Bindoji. So, Hari Om, everyone. I've been sort of now utilizing what you taught in terms of putting a light on different reading I do now. This is part of the Advaita Prakarana in, part of the this Mandikopanishad with Karika and Shankara Bhashya around it. So here, the Advaita doesn't have this Ragadvesha, the likes and dislikes. It transcended the likes and dislikes, and why it is the right path. The Shatro Papattibhyam Avadharitatvat Advayama Darshanam Samyak Darshanam. That is, this has both Pramana and Yukti, both Shastra Pramana, the Vakya, and there is a Yukti also given, like Prakriya given how to realize it. Whatever is getting stated has a way to get it is also given in the framework of Upanishad. That is why it is the right Samyak Darshan is all encompassing darshana. Darshana is drushti and darshana. It is experientially available also to validate. And then it classifies everything else. I think Patrick was really opened up. Every other path is Dvaita. And it is stating that way, and because of Dvaita, it lead to, again, Raga Dvesha, likes, dislikes, my God is better than your God, or that kind of arguments. It opens up a avenue for such argument. So why, how? That is why, there is a Karika that explains, Swasiddhanta Vyavastasu Dvaitino Nishita Drudam Parasparam Virudyante Tairayam Na Virudyate. So that means, when one stick on to their Siddhanta or their path, once they establish in that path, they will have always a counter opposite available. And again, that counter opposites lead to the arguments. And using which, there is one statement that really is a very assertive way of putting it, what Bhashya, the Shankara put it. Swasiddhanta Vyavastasu Swasiddhanta Rachanaishameshu Kapila Kanada Buddha Arhata Didrushtanu Sarinaha Dvaitinaha Nishitaha. That means Shankara equivocally stating what Kapila, Kanada, Buddha, Arhata, because their drushti, it is based on their, that, you see the whatever the drushti they took, whatever they saw, that he is equivocally stating as Dvaita. That was interesting to me. I know Kapila with the Sankhya Darshana, that is Purusha Prakriti. In Buddha, this is Bindoji, this is how I picked it up, was Buddham Sharanam Gacchami. The Buddha is more, as much you can deduct to a point of, it is not at Purusha Prakriti, Purusha Prana level, it is at a Shraddha level. At the best you can put at, Ishvara or whatever equivalent. The Buddham, that universal intellect, that's the most you can put. Realize that knowledge of this whole desire lead to suffering. It deducts to a point, it stops there. It doesn't go beyond. That's the reason why Shankara equivocally stating Kapila, Kanada, Buddha. The Kanada is about atom in motion, atom at rest. He separates these, as ultimate truth. So what is the, background? Why he equivocally stated these are the Dvaitas, and also he further states Advaitam Paramartho hi Dvaitam Tadveda Uchyate Tveshamubayata Dvaitam Tenayam Na Viruddhate. Because Advaita is not Viruddha, it doesn't, it encompasses everything. Even it sees Dvaita as, as a result of whatever, that happens within Advaita framework. Dvaita is just a ignorance that lead to that Dvaita. So why do you think, Shankara straight away put these in the category of Advaita?
See, the approach which Shankara takes is very simple. The Dvaitic policies or philosophies are loggerheads with each other. They have been fighting between themselves much before Shankara himself brought out with the Advaita from the Shruti itself. He didn't say that it is his vision or he is the one who is propounding it. He is saying that it is Pramana, which is the Shruti, that is the Upanishads, and Yukti and Anubhava. The three things which he says that is the scriptures, the Upanishads are talking about it. It is logic which is supporting that what has been told in the Upanishad, and it is an Anubhava or it's experience of everyone because we are talking about Jagrat, Swapna, Sushupti and, things like that. So there is not a single person who cannot agree, who has got an intellect in the acceptance of Advaita. Whereas others have come out with the philosophies of their own, Purusha Prakriti. There is no Purusha Prakriti in the Upanishads or in the way in which Shankara has seen it. They have seen it in a different way. So they call that Purusha and Prakriti as the Shastra Pramana, whereas Kanada's Anu, which is Paramanu, is not even there in the Shastras. It is the only place where you can say Anoraniyan, Mahato Mahiyan, that there is a statement about Anu. Other than that, there is no way. Anu has been the source of creation, has never been mentioned in any of the Upanishads. So from all these things, but Kanada and Kapila, and the followers of them were fighting between each other, saying that you are right, I am right, you are right, I am right. So he is saying that I don't have to fight with them and prove them one of them wrong. Both of them are proving each one of them wrong. So Advaitam is the Paramarthada. So there is no way anybody can contest and come to me saying that you are not right, or Sankhya is right, or Kanada is right. Now coming to Buddha, the Buddha, they never accepted Vedas. So he's saying that since you don't have a pramana of your own, you are talking about from your experience. From that point of view, if you are saying that we cannot accept because we need a pramana, that is why we don't even accept Buddha. You are talking about one personal experience. So that way, there are so many people, especially people with mystic powers and others who have been talking so many things, but they don't have pramana of their own. But if their pramana, if their experience and what they are talking is in alignment with the Upanishad and the Shastra Pramana, that mystic statements are considered to be Aptavakya, or the statement of a wise man, because it is in alignment with the Pramana. So Pramana is the most important thing for Shankara to this thing, and whereas Kanada and Kapila has not been able to prove a Pramana for their own.
But this is fine. I think this fairly tallies. But why, Dvaita as a tag, it given by Shankara? Why it is called Dvaita? There has to be some strong reason, right, Banerjee?
The strong reason is simple, because Purusha and Prakriti is Dvaita, and in Kanada's thing is that Bhava, Abhava, and Anu is the Bhava, and Anu Abhava is called Pratyogi, and things like that is there in that. So, because this Vishishadvaita, Dvaita, which we talk today, was not there in Shankara's time. It came much after Shankara. So we are not going to discuss even that when in the light of Karika. Where he is talking about is only about the Sankhya and the Kanada, that Nyaya Vaisheshika. And Buddha, because it's not a pramana thing, so he's not even accepting that.
Okay. I think I didn't find anything where he's stating openly the path of Buddha lack this openly. I think it was not this way, Banerjee. I was trying to figure it out. So that was one background. I think anyway, we can talk a little further. For now, I'll stop here, Banerjee, to let others continue.
So Venkat, then we'll try to come back to you if we can. It's always, excuse me, sorry for the bad reception for a moment. It's really beautiful when people do have the time to really consider, sorry, red bar, consider ahead what we want to bring forward. So I really appreciate that, Venkat, and we want to give space for those who are on an ongoing study of these things. Stoic, welcome. Haven't seen you in a while. Did you have something you'd like to discuss with Mindaji? If so, go ahead.
Okay, no, I would wait a while, listen a little bit more.
Okay, we can do that, and our time is limited, but we'll make an effort here and try to circle back to people who have already come up. Srini, namaste.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I thought Tara was before me, sir, but yeah. Yeah, namaste, Bindoji. Namaste, Atmashya. So,
Namaste, Nishi.
yeah, a quick question. I think it got more, I think it got stimulated by Patrick and some other discussions that keep going on. So, I think I want to put it this way. Like, for example, Brahman had an intention to project, or like some people say, his swabhava is to project or something. Uh, is it enough to say that if that is intention, I think is even silly, because then the intention will overrule Brahman, right? So if an intention is guiding Brahman what to do, then I think logically speaking, the intention will become higher than Brahman. I think that is one of the common reasonings I hear, that it's like, for example, in dream and waking, he's creating because of his intention, and in deep sleep he's taking it back because of his intention. I think for me logically looks like in that case the intention will supersede Brahman. And then if it is Swabhava, that also doesn't work, because then it should be constant in 3 avasthas. A projection somehow seems to happen in only 2 avasthas. So I think it can neither be intention of Brahman, or it should, at least logically, it should have nothing to do with Brahman, right? Either the universe or anything for that matter. What is it? I was just thinking about it a little bit logically.
Well, Srini, you have to think from this thing. When we talk about intention of Brahman, so kamayada bahusyam prajayeti. From that only, that sa aikshata. These are the words which are used from the Upanishad to show that he had an intention. Actually speaking, the words which we are using as intention is not the right word. It is more or less Swabhava. Swabhava means it is the nature of light to enlighten things. Now, you can't say light had an intention to enlighten objects. That will be our way of looking at it. The lamp had an intention to lit the room. Will you call it that way? Or the nature of the lamp is to light anything inside the room? If you look at it that way, Swabhava is there in all the 3 states. It is not only in the Jagrat Swapna. The Swabhava is to remain when the light is off also. That the lamp is not lit. That doesn't mean the lamp is not there, right? Or the light when it is not being lit. There is a state also that like that. When it is lit, it starts illuminating entire things in the room, and wherever the shadow comes, it is a shadow which is equivalent to the dream. So if you look at this as an example or as simile, it is the nature of awareness or consciousness to be aware of things. Now the things, are they different from the awareness? No, they are not different from awareness. That is where we are making a mistake, because we think we are separate from others. Therefore, the objects are separate from us. And therefore, the objects are created. No. Including the one who is having the consciousness of the object, both the object and he. Now, that is where normally I say, you are an object to me and I am an object to you. So, who is the creation of whom? That way, we cannot say that way. This is why we have to think it from as a swabhava, or a natural tendency of consciousness to project itself as multitude, not from his point of view. From his point of view, or from Brahman's point of view, it's all him only. only him only. But as an independent creation, or as a feeling that I have in independence, it is just like one wave looks at the other wave, say that I am different from you. But both of them have the water as common thing. And from the point of view water, both the waves are not separate from the water itself. But for the waves, one wave can look at the other wave and feel that, they are two are independently and separately existing. But without the water, none of them can exist. Same way is our experiences also. Only when you know your true nature, you will know that you are not different from everything in the world. And that is why ekatvam anuvashyata. That attitude that knowledge will come, or that awareness will happen. That is the way to look at it.
Yeah, Vindu, correct. I think as long as it is lighting up, see, I think there is a slight difference between saying projecting and the lamp example, right? Because as far as it's only lighting up, then it can be just a misconception or adhyasa or distortion kind of thing. But projection in the modern context, the way we use it is like as if some multiplicity is really being projected rather than considering it as just a distortion or something. So lighting up as a swabhava is still fine, but calling projection as a swabhava seems little bit it's a little bit worrying kind of thing.
Yeah, it is not a projection. It appeared as many. So kameyata bahusyam prajayeti. That is the word used in the Upanishad. Let me become many means he didn't project himself as many. He appeared as many. The light appeared as everything that is lit in the room. Right? The objects in the room become separate from because without the light, the objects have no vision or nothing can be seen. But the objects is seen because of the light. So there is a difference between the light and the object. But if you really look at what do we see an object, we are not seeing the object. We are seeing the light from the object, and we are seeing the object. Are you really seeing the object without the light? No. We are seeing the object in the light. Same way, we are experiencing the objects in the world as awareness, because in the awareness, every object has a locus standi, and we experience the objects in the light of awareness. That is how we have to look at it.
Do you notice that? Do you guys notice how, at least in most cases, how incredibly well organized the so-called creation is? That the appearance is not chaotic. That there's rhyme and reason and flow and harmony. I'm not saying that there isn't the antithesis of that, but you see that harmony in the so-called creation, in that appearance. It works magnificently. Biology, chemistry, all of that. That there's something to be said about that, Bindo. There's something that needs to be said about that. Why is that, Bindo? Why is there harmony like that?
Thank you. I appreciate that, Patrick. First, to just check, though, Srini, for you to be able to continue your discussion with Bindo if you want to.
Yeah, actually, Patrick was a great addition. Again, he stimulated a little bit. I will keep it short. This will be my last question.
Yeah, I won't say anything. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's good, actually. I think today your questions are more very interesting, Patrick. Thank you.
Today, Patrick is batting.
Yeah. So, I think, again on the so, again, it's just between that projection kind of expression and the illumination kind of expression, right? Because the moment it seems that there is a liberty given to acknowledge things and multiplicity, then there is no end to it, right? Like we will see the beauty, and and also end up attributing it to Brahman, the creation. So yeah, that's what actually logically is like little bit, because once we say it is just a distortion, misconception, and all dualities like that, and then in that sense that there is only Brahman and only the light, it is little bit more clear. But I think giving little bit freedom to acknowledge the duality itself as Brahman, or acknowledge multiplicity of existence, it will open floodgates, is what logically at least is what I feel. But yeah, I think that's what I think. And also you can continue with the I think. Thank you.
I don't think, Vishrini, we are in any way going in that direction. That direction is taken by people who do not see the unity in everything. As long as you see biology and chemistry as separate, you have biology separate, chemistry separate. But if both of them are information and knowledge, and what information does it bring? Within biology itself, there are multitudes of knowledge. Within chemistry itself, there are multitudes of knowledge. So where will you draw a line? So when you are looking from a pedestal or from a point of view of knowledge, that knowledge doesn't go down and then segregate the information into multitudes and then say that it is the knowledge which is now become multitude of as information. No. You have to look at it as every information is also knowledge. Then the information doesn't become separate, individualistic, or divided and a multitude. It is all become knowledge only. In that I don't call it as knowledge, I call it as awareness or consciousness. From that point of view, you can see that unity. If you don't see that from point of view, then you can see only multiplicity, not even duality. I would call it as multiplicity.
So, Vidurji, that 16 kalas is an organized manifestation, maybe to keep Patrick happy.
Yeah, Patrick is in full form today. He
Say that again, Venkat. I've had a lot of coffee. I'm sorry, everyone. Venkat, what did you say?
See, in Prashnopanishad, there are 16 kala that, organize that projection of Purusha as a, externalizing Purusha. That was the way it is laid out. How the manifestation come about is well organized and told like a spokes and the wheel. If that helps to sort of reconcile why such an organized manifestation, there is no conflict in the way Upanishad has put it already. So there is no conflict in a way that if you want to see that, why it is like this, it is already, the answer is given.
Yeah. Okay, well then, I'm not suggesting at all that there's any conflict with the Upanishads or any description or anything. I'm just saying that the fact that there's order and reason and, even divine synchronicity, all of it, there's something profound to that. That in different realms, so to speak, there would be chaos and madness and confusion and all of that. But let's just say with what we have right now, there's something really well organized about it at all. Like the fact that we're sitting here in different parts of the world having a conversation and so on. Like that, there's something to that. That reflection speaks to that there's something incredible about Brahman. That we were having all of this, that the planet moves, that there's order, all of it. You know what I'm talking about, Venkat?
No, this is all perfect. Organized, extension, extensiveness, all that is perfect. Only ask is don't get lost in it. That is the only ask.
I think dream is always the most perfect thing that you can ever perceive. So yeah, perfection is good because it proves that everything is like a dream, like reality.
So,
but one
yeah,
last
I want
fall,
to circle.
sorry for that. One last thing, just because Bindoji said that, like my last question. So Bindoji, this knowledge that you talked about, which is totally a different perception of the world, and with that there is little chance of slipping into multiplicity and all. So it sounds like this to me. For example, a person who has realized such a knowledge, uh, can they spend completely their life in like some kind of an aparavidya like physics or biology or whatever other example, even arts and literature, for example? Or on the other side, something like Upanishads saying that swadhyaya pravachanebhyam na pravaditavyam. So so even if someone is seemingly indulging in the multiplicity, still their main core manana or their thing is still on the right knowledge only, right? And it just kind of continues. So it definitely doesn't mean that once realized can completely indulge into some apara kind of vidyas, right?
Why not? For example, what was Tyagaraja doing?
But that is only for the outward,
He was
right? Inside he must have always been contemplate or in.
right. So, from the point of view of others, it may be he is indulging in aparavidya. From his own point of view, he is always in love or in the deep nectar of Brahman in the form of Rama. Okay, whatever it is. So, you should understand that the vision of a jnani and vision of a person who sees jnani are different. They can never see from the jnani's point of view unless he becomes himself a jnani.
Correct. And the Jnani's point of view should always be like an illumination, but not like a projection or that Brahman has created stuff. I think that will never be his point of
Tasya
view.
bhasa sarvam idam vibhati.
Okay. Thank you, Vindaji. I think I took up so much time. Yeah. Please go ahead, Stoic or Vinaji.
No, thank you, Srini. And just to say, the two people who came up first both passed. Venkat gave very little time to himself, so let's go back to Stoic and then Venkat, and then if we have time, Vinaji. Go ahead, Stoic, and take the time that you need. Doesn't mean that everyone has to even. We'll get as far as we get.
Okay. Namaste, Bindoji.
Namaste.
I wanted to ask a question on duality. How the aspect of duality can be exploited by those who know the art of projection, and the exploitation and manipulation is something which is global. So if we believe and if there is an absolute truth, is there also an absolute judgment that comes?
See, truth is independent of any judgment or any conditions external to it. The absence of the knowledge of truth, there is possibility of everything which can happen. That is where we see the duality, multiplicity, judgment, misuse, or, wrong interpretation, and, people pretending to be having the vision and talking about the scriptures, but in their personal life, they will be abominable person as an individual. So these are all the things which are that. But a person who has seen his own nature, he can never be what you call in any of this duality nature or multiplicity nature. He is least interested in, or he doesn't see multiplicity. Forget about to be least interested. So if you are really serious about knowing how such a person will behave, you have to read that Sthitaprajnasya details given by Krishna in the second chapter towards the end of the second chapter. There he is mentioning the nature in which a jnani or a person whose, intellect is a firm established in the truth. How will such a person behave has been given. So if you read that verses, you will know how such a person transacts in the multiple world, yet without losing his unity of seeing everything in one light.
Thank you. This is more about the person, and I understand when you mention about the person who has a vision and lives a very opposite life. That's depicted in the life of Solomon, King Solomon. But I would not wish to speak on the person who is living, on who has experienced that unity. I wish to know, when we speak about the absolute truth, and you said that it is beyond judgment, and when the dualistic nature allows people to manipulate, and there's no doubt that it doesn't, then how can we not say that this absolute truth can also take a form which is vicious, and that is judgment? And it is not about the person who is living in that. It is that one thing that is absolute, and it takes a form of judgment. Can truth not be in that vicious form? Because it is true, it will shake you. It might shake you in the form of judgment. That is what I wanted to ask. Because when sometimes these words are used, I have seen people feel that this can never be. But I feel the opposite. I feel this can be, and this is the case. And because we are always operating in the dualistic system ourselves, even though we might have had visions, we do not see when absolute judgment comes the way it comes to be absolute. We also perceive it as something which we can't understand, so it is wrong. So maybe the absolute takes its form which we can't understand, and hence the judgment. What do you say?
Stoic, without person there is no knowing of the absolute truth or the absolute judgment. It is all instruments in the hands of people. Otherwise, you cannot say that where is the truth, where is the judgment without the people. So, it has to be relative to the people operating in the realm of truthfulness and untruthfulness. People who are following truthfulness will stand out from the rest of the crowd, and they are least interested in the gains what otherwise in the untruthful means can fetch them, because their happiness in what they have found in the truth is surpassing all other happiness. That is what has proven time immemorial, and therefore there is no question of any misuse of truth happening at any point of time. If at all you appear to be knowing that, then the truth is not known, and then somebody is pretending to be knowing the truth. That is how you are to see it.
Thank you, Stoic. Thank you very much. Venkat, you actually took less time than most people, and so I think why don't you give yourself the opportunity? We'll go a little bit over, and then we'll close with Vinergy. So I'm looking forward to what you want to go on with, Venkat.
Yeah,
Hari Om,
Vinodji,
Dina.
I think I have a problem in communicating the same thing that you communicate, because I involve things like you create your own sparrow, or you lift your hand like that, and where I actually say I is the awareness only. Obviously, people will misunderstand it, and even the way we actually sequence everything, because even in Upanishads it says it intends, or same thing that Srinivas asked, either it projects, intends, or shines, whatever. Okay, now every word that we use has some meaning, because the mind can only make one particular meaning out of it, and it leaves out the other meanings, right? So we have a problem because of that. Now we don't have to focus too much on the word that we use for this phenomena, but the phenomena is happening is something that we need to understand, and also the fact that whatever phenomena is happening is not permanent. It's totally temporary, and it kind of is going to disappear for sure. This much, if we are aware, then we are kind of done with this, right? We don't really have to worry about it. Am I correct in saying this?
Yeah, you can say, but the problem is that the phenomena and how it is happening is beyond the realm of ordinary mind. So people will have difficulty when you don't use the right wording for taking them to that status where they may not understand in the initial stages, but over a period, having listened again and again, they will know what it is indicating towards, whether it is a projection or an appearance or, or any other word which we wanted to convey that idea. But
So, Bindaji, see, the problem is arising because everybody thinks awareness or self, as a thing actually. Because only things will have properties, only thing will do something and all that. But truly speaking, the self or awareness, even experientially, cannot be said as a thing, right? So the word that we use is obviously not going to apply to awareness. This is another reasoning that I use actually. Is this correct?
no. In fact, consciousness or awareness or truth is a thing which cannot be quantified or qualified by our experiences, because our experiences are all the experiences are in the realm of what you call ideas and notions and imaginations from our mind. But this is a state which is beyond the mind. So that thing which is beyond the mind can never be brought in between the words to explain its properties, because it's a beyond properties. It doesn't have a property of its own. That is why we are finding.
That is not a thing.
No. It doesn't mean that property that it is a vastu. In the technical term, it is a vastu means it's an object. Object not in the sense of an object what we experience with our five sense organs. No, it is not in the realm of the five sense organs nor the mind. But yet it is an object, because it is that object which we are experiencing also, but we do not experience it as that object, but we experience it as name and form. When it comes to name and form, we have added qualities and adjectives to it. But remove the adjectives and qualities and everything, what is remaining is its existence and its own presence as existence available for our knowledge. That object is beyond any attributions or any qualifications which you can bring in. That is where the problem of words and imagination fails.
No, I mean, we know this, but then I think I'm not very sure how to kind of see. We know definitely that it's not like, it cannot be put in words and all. But then the same thing I can tell for the taste also, right? The taste is experienced, no doubt. I know that it is real. I know that it is also phenomenal because there are different types of taste, for example. And yet, there's no way to communicate that to anybody else and all that. So this is an example where there is a phenomena. It is a differentiated, experienced, but it cannot be communicated. But with respect to self, even this is not applicable because it's not something that you can hold on to. At the most, you can say you are that, right? That's why I say that it is not a thing of any sort.
Yeah, we know. Wait. What I would suggest is that in the Aitreya Upanishad, the second chapter beginning, there is a discussion between Shankaracharya and opponent. Actually, it is not opponent, it is his own disciple. But the disciple's questions are being considered as opponent's question, pratyogi. No, it's not that. I'm going to take an excuse and going into that particular dialogue between Shankara and his disciple about this aspect what you referred right now. In the beginning of the second chapter of the Aitreya Upanishad. I was not planning to do that, but since you have asked this question and you have to be there for the class, and it is not in the first chapter. First chapter is full of meditation and upasana and all those things. It is based of, I won't call it as a philosophical thinking, but it is about creation and all those names and forms and etc. I'm not much interested in explaining that. I'll be reading through like how I did in the other Upanishads. But second chapter and third chapter are more important for this one. So second chapter beginning, I will deal with sentence by sentence of Sanskrit and explain it in English so that you understand how Shankara deals with this very question of yours.
Sure, Bindu. I think next Friday, right? Second chapter.
No. Next second, the Aitareya Upanishad will be starting next Wednesday. But whether second Friday will come or not, no, will depends upon the progress. Because there are 3 subsections to first chapter. So I will not be able to rush through that. It is
basically after the first chapter is over, basically. So
first chapter has got 3 subsections. Then the second chapter starts. The beginning of the second chapter is the dialogue between Shankara and his disciple.
Just an extension to Vinodji's thing, the only vastu is awareness, that we can say, right? That is the only vastu.
Yes.
Everything else is just vibhasa.
The only thing in the room is the light. Every object is seen in the light, no?
Yeah, Binduji, actually the logic that sometimes we enter into, I think today SK was asking this question, that how to prove that there is only light and there is no object. Normally our experience is the light is lighting up the object. But in reality, there is no object when there is no light. Now, to be able to understand this jump, right, we need to recognize that the mind is the one which is giving continuity to the objects, and there is no proof that there is a continuity with the object itself. Both the light and the object suddenly appear and disappear. Is this the correct logic or any other logic that we can use here?
No, the logic which we have to see is that here we have problem is that we mentally assume that the objects have got independent existence without the light. Therefore, we have a problem in explaining that. That is why I use that other example of water and 2 waves. It is only water and waves are nothing but water. But when it is 2 waves, one big and one small, the qualification big and small, one is in the front, one is in the back side, all type of explanations and the adjectives which we use is for the appearance which comes to us, not to the water by itself. From the point of view of the water, there is no difference between the first wave and the second wave. He doesn't even call it as a wave. It is his own forms, The water itself is the wave. So,
no, wait.
That is the thing.
Binduji, the problem that happens in that example is that the point of reference is outside the water as well as the wave. And therefore, the modification of the water is seen by independent observer, right? And that is why that example is understood also. And of course, the people recognize the temporariness of it because the wave is not permanent. It will not remain as a wave more than a few seconds maybe, right? Whereas in the physical reality, a stone remains as a stone forever, right? So that's why we cannot translate that into the physical reality, like our experience reality. That is one problem. Second problem is that the way we say that from the point of view of water, the wave is not there. Now the water may not be a point observer at all, right? Because you cannot establish observership in any point of the water. And if water is everything, obviously then, it cannot be like, a wave again, right? Because it has to come out and see.
I'll ask you a question, Vinod. From the point of view of existence, light and the stone has existence which is independent of the light or the stone. That name light and the stone comes from our experiential point of view. But from the point of view of existence, both of them are nothing but existence. Light is in existence, stone is in existence.
There's no way to say that even light exists in that sense, because there's no way to see that. We see the light as an observer because I see like either a ray going or like, something lighting up and so on.
No, that is why
Phenomenon.
there I exist, the light exists, the stone exists.
Correct.
Everything is in
three
existence.
simultaneously come into being, right? Okay. Triad.
No, come. It is in existence. All the three appear. That is where the beauty lies.
No, that is correct, because awareness is a prerequisite for any of these kind of things to happen. Okay. But the phenomena that from awareness, there's nothing, and the next moment there is the observer, the light, and the stone.
That you are dividing. That you are dividing the existence into three. That cannot be the way. That way the water and the two waves are separate.
No. My point is there's nothing out there, because the information is coming from a point of view of what you take as point of view. It's like saying different tool will measure different thing.
That is why That is why the Upanishad says that you have to look from the point of view of the consciousness or awareness.
No, you cannot.
You are the awareness. You are the awareness.
No, but there's no way you can see from awareness. The moment you say see, automatically there is an observer who has come into play. Okay. Now what I can do
when I say see from the awareness, I'm not say visually see from the eyes. Be the awareness and observe it.
No,
then what do you do?
Then also I feel. That's why then it comes to the question of knowledge, knowing and all that. Then it goes into different...
Everything is awareness.
Yeah.
There is no question of knowing.
Still, when the knowledge
knowing for you... No, that is where we know for knowing you are bringing your mind. I am saying that mind is also existing in awareness.
No, that statement, mind is existing in awareness, is a post-facto statement. From awareness perspective, there's no way to know anything. I mean, I don't know. It's okay, Binduji, I don't know really how to, but some insights that I feel are not matching up.
So your points are really good, and I think they're important for everyone. But I'd like to just note that we sometimes allow ourselves to go over, and Venkat deferred to everyone else at the beginning, and it'd be really what we're going to do now is just give Venkat the space to go through anything else he'd like to with Binduji, and then we'll all just wait for the next opportunity, and hopefully everyone's able to find benefit in all of the questions. So if you're there now, Venkat, otherwise we'll go and close, but if you'd like to.
I think I have just a few pointers to ask. Before we close, I think Vinodji, we opened a topic on this, the Shruti, right? Shruti and Yukti.
Yes.
Shruti Pramana and the Yukti are available as a framework. If you were to match the school of thought or the model and the technique to arrive at it, both need to be in place. I think only way to validate is, get to the, this Samyak Darshana. Vedanta Darshana is inevitable. If we can arrive, then there is a high reconciliation with the Binduji's teaching. This is how I latched onto it. Then go to the other examples and see that Yukti applied or the technique applied is matching, or where do I deviate, why there's a misunderstanding. All that will emerge out of this, my request. That way we can reduce a lot of that variations. That's why it is important to come to this Samyak Darshana, that Upanishad Darshana and the technique used, like water and wave, is a technique used. So it's important to arrive, understand, then apply to the other examples. Maybe that'll help. Binodji, I have a few asks for you. One is this Madhu Vidya, Madhu Brahmana. Any pointers you want to give? Because this is one area not explored from a...
Madhu Vidya, I'll be taking Madhu Vidya. I'll be taking it when I'm taking Brihadaranya. That I said Upanishad. When I take that, only I can explain that. Basically, it talks about honeybees are collecting honey from many places, but there is only Ekarasa for the Madhu. You cannot make a difference in between. It is the honey from X flower, honey from Y flower, honey from Z flower, like that. But when you taste the, so ekatvam anupashyata, that what the unity what you see is what is being referred in that Madhuvidya. It is a methodology of Upasana, actually speaking.
Yes, Mr. I think I kept hearing that Madhu is repeatedly used
It's a
in the
Brahmana. It's in
Mantropasana.
the
Mantropasana.
Madhu Brahmana.
Madhu Brahmana. Yeah, it is. Yeah, Madhu Brahmana especially. It used repeatedly. That keep interviewing, and I thought I'll check with you. I'll wait then, Binduji.
Okay. Hari Om.
Are you?
Yeah, tell.
Yeah. Thank you, everybody. Yeah. Thank you,
Binduji,
everybody.
today's session was so good. Now I want Sunday also you'd have one Q&A.
No,
Yeah.
I thought back to back we had 3, so the 4th one will be. I didn't expect so many questions to come today. When Patrick was really batting good today, he was like Virat Kohli today. So we expect Patrick to be with more questions
I
on
told
Sunday
you this
also.
morning, I texted Bindo. I said, Bindo, do you want me to give you the question in advance to prepare yourself for him? I just thought I'd have fun with him. So thank you, Bindoji, for taking so much time.
Brilliant, Patrick.
I think the point of speaking is
So,
to show your brilliance. So
Indraji, then
save it.
do you want to do Sunday or shall we do? Yes.
Yeah, we can do Sunday. No problem.
Okay. We were going to give Indraji more time to prepare for the Upanishad class, but thank you for your generosity in holding. Are you able to hear me? In holding the
Yes.
question and answer on Sunday. Okay, good. So we'll be in the Jataveda house on Sunday at 8:30 p.m. IST, and then the Upanishad class will start the next one next Wednesday right here. Thank you, everyone, for your enthusiasm. It can be a little bit challenging, but we can continue that next week. So thank you again, Hari Om Bindaji, and we'll go ahead and close the room.
Okay, Hari Om. Thank you all. See you on Sunday. Hari Om. Hari Om.